Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are up here in Austin at the Come and Take It live this afternoon. Yes, as we end out the month of May here at the program, brings me great pleasure to welcome the man, the legend, yes, and my friend, Mr. Joey Vera of Armored Saint. Sir, welcome back to our show.
Hello, thanks for having me again. I'm glad to be back. It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
You as well. So
we were talking off camera. We said 9 years. It's been 9 years since you've been on Rob's.
that's crazy. Yeah, that time has flown because I didn't think it was that long. Because that's a long time.
To me, it's kind of bittersweet. I love that, we're able to do this again once again, and that you and I have always had great rapport.
Yeah.
And I love how we dialogue about metal and things that are going on with Armored Saint.
Yeah, and it's like we haven't seen each other in 9 years, but then it just feels like you're picking up 9 years ago. Like no time has passed. And
Right.
That's a cool thing with friends and people. Like you don't have that with everybody. So
Right.
yeah, we're lucky.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for saying that, because that really means a lot to me. Right before we started rolling, and I want to start off by talking about obviously this run that you guys have been on. You guys just completed 7 weeks with Queensryche.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're still continuing on. I think you got 2 or 3 more weeks of headline shows.
Yep.
So you've been on the road for a little bit. How's it been going?
Yeah. I mean, it's going great. I was 2 seconds ago complaining about how hard it was. But the truth is, it seemed daunting in the beginning. We first started out, it was 8 weeks long. The whole run was 8 weeks, including the 7 with Queensryche. And so in the beginning, it was like, oh man, it's so long. There's so many shows, and like, how are we going to make it, But, hindsight's always 20/20, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, we had a few hurdles along the way, but mostly it was really great.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was due to Queensryche. I mean, those guys are some of the coolest people you'll ever meet. You probably already know this. They're just great friends of ours.
Yeah.
This is our 3rd tour with them, and they just treat everybody so well.
Good people.
Their entire crew and the band, just top-notch people, and so that makes life so much easier. So it made our life so much easier touring.
Cool.
So we had a great time with them, and we were sad to see them go in Fort Myers. That was our last show with them, but now we're on our trek, working our way back west, back to LA, and we have a whole bunch of headline shows along the way, and we're here tonight.
Yeah.
In Austin. So we're in Austin, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
To come and take it live.
It's been a long tour.
I think I need to mention, because people have read about it in the news, that one of the little hurdles, I guess you would say, was that Bush kind of was struggling. You guys canceled a couple of shows because Bush's voice was strained a little bit. Is he all better now?
He's all better now. He's came back right after. Well, he came back for the last 2 shows in Florida, and so we did those, and then we had a couple days off in NOLA. And then, so we got some more rest a couple days ago, and then we started back up yesterday in Houston. So, he's feeling much better. He just needed to. He went and saw a doctor, and just everything looked great. And he just needed time off. He's not sick or anything. So,
okay, good. That's what I was going to ask. Is the shit's going around, man? Like, here in Texas, is like. Every few weeks or so, you hear about people getting sick. It goes around, and everybody gets better. Then they get sick again.
Yeah.
So
well, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
This time of year too. It's spring, and
Yeah.
there's all that allergies as well, and it's everything.
So many new exciting things to talk about. But before I do, I want to quickly say that Punching the Sky was an amazing record.
Thank you.
Your last record that came out in
Thank you.
2020.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that record, bro. And I remember when I got it, I was like, holy smokes, even in this stage of their career, that the band is able still to kind of put out a full-length record that is just so still quality for what Armored Saint
Awesome.
is.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
How
I
did
love
you
hearing
kind of
that.
feel about the reception that record got?
Well, it got great reception, I mean, it came out during COVID, during the end of the shutdown, so that was a little weird, but we wanted to get the record out anyway. We didn't feel the need to not release it. We felt like people were home.
Sure.
And what were they doing? They were listening to music, buying LPs and buying CDs, and listening to music. So we figured, let's put our record out. It's ready to go. So the response has been really great. I think a lot of our fans appreciate that, you know, we put out another record that we stand behind and we think is a really good quality, high quality stuff. So yeah, so we're super proud of it. And to us, like, we're still, even though the record came out 4 years ago, to us it's still our new record because that whole year was kind of robbed by everybody. So we're sort of like still in the cycle of punching the sky in our minds. So yeah, that's interesting that you say that. And you know, I think so many of us want to put the pandemic behind us, but you know, if you're a working band, and you know, I can just imagine, I spoke with many bands who, you know, financially kind of really tore them apart, and you know, coincidentally, you know, their record dropped in March or something like that of 2022, really killed them. So I'm glad that you guys released that record. And you know, when I think about veteran bands, you know, there's some bands who, if they still didn't feel they were quality songwriters, could just kind of live off their catalog. And that's something that you guys probably will never do. I mean, you know, for us, the thing that actually keeps us together is this desire to continually make new music. You know, we've never, I mean, our career speaks for itself in a way. We've never made the same record twice, for one thing. Every record we make is slightly different, takes a few chances here and there, and then we never just, like, you know, went on like a 30-year hiatus and only go out and tour, play weekends, and just play the hits. You know. You know, hits. I use that term lightly with us. But you know, so for us, this opportunity to always move forward is the thing that keeps us together.
The band of brothers. The band of brothers. Also, I can't leave Punching the Sky without saying that this record, it sounded amazing. And then, you know, as I was getting prepared today, I was like, man, they recorded this record like at several studios, or did different parts of this record in several studios. Yeah,
a couple different places.
Did you guys, was that kind of purposely, or just because you were moving around, or were there certain areas that you wanted to get to?
To be honest, it's more about getting the most bang for your buck. You know? So for us, you know, like I do all of the recording of the vocals, for instance, is done at my house. Because John and I can work without a clock running, you know, but I can get great performances from John and a good sounding mic and all that stuff. I have all the gear for that stuff. So I feel confident enough to do that part of it there. But you know, then we'll spend some money and we'll go to a real studio to do the drums, for instance, and the guitars and things like that. So yeah, we just try to get the most bang for our buck and move around, and
I mentioned the fact I talked about full-length records, and you know, now it's kind of ironic because the single for Punching the Sky was called End of the Attention Span, and then you know, with that kind of mentality now in our society and with music fans, you know, many bands have kind of opted to say, oh, okay, let's adapt with what's happening and let's release singles and EPs rather than a full-length record. Is that a conversation that you guys have had internally?
Well, yeah, it's funny you bring that up because, you know, we've always been a band that's just, you know, written 10 songs, record 10 songs, put out, and then put out a full-length record. But, you know, it is true that people get their music differently now. They just do. They get their music differently. They treat their music differently. They listen to it differently than they did back when we were growing up. It's not the same. And, you know, so I kind of feel like there's less pressure and there's less of a need to make a full-length record. I'm not saying that we're going to just sit around and start putting out singles or anything. But we did experiment with this. Hasn't actually happened yet because we have a single coming out June 12th.
Nice.
And this is, again, it was an idea that came up. It kind of came out of something frivolous. It was just a fun idea I had. It was an old R&B cover tune by the band The Four Tops, who I'm a big fan of, and so is John Bush. And I said, let me do like a metal version of this song, and I think you would kill it singing it. because he's got such a soulful voice.
Right.
You know, John's voice
Sure.
is powerful and soulful, and bluesy. And so he said, all right, so we did this demo, and it wasn't even for Armored Saint at this point. It was just him and I, like, just for fun. And this thing came out amazing. And I said, we have to bring this to the band now. Like, we should do this as Armored Saint. And everyone was, like, kind of scratching their heads, like, what? You know, why? You know, I said, I don't know. It's just so good, and it came out cool. Let's just do it as a single, standalone single, and that's what's happening.
Yeah,
so we have a standalone single. It's called One Chain Don't Make No Prison. It's by the Four Tops, done by Armored Saint. It's coming out June 12th on Metal Blade.
Wow.
And for now, it's just a digital release. We made a video for it, too, which came out really cool. Really fun. And the whole thing is just, it's just fun. We're not taking ourselves too serious with this, but it kicks ass.
It came out great.
Really good.
Yeah. And I'm all for, like, putting that stuff out for your fans, Yeah. There's so many people, so many bands out there who, like, they record shit and they just like, oh, it's in our archive, maybe it'll see the light of day.
Yeah.
And I hate that, Why not just release it if you worked on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, obviously, I think what a lot of people are interested in, and that is new music, a new record from Armored Saint. I've been hearing, little rumors and tidbits here and there about the band working on a new record. How far along are you on that process?
We did start writing 6 months ago, 9 months ago, something like that. So we work kind of slow. We all have, some of us have families and kids and whatnot. So it's hard to work faster than kind of slow. So we're about 6 songs in, 7 songs in, and we still have a bunch in the back burners, and we have new ideas. Some things came up on this tour even. So there's, so the process is still moving forward. With any luck, I mean, if it were me, I would love to see a record come out late next year, 25.
Late next year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm being realistic.
Sure, for sure.
I know how things go, and I know the lead time that Metal Blade has.
Yeah.
And we just re-signed a deal with Metal Blade, and we got another couple records to make for them, and so everything's moving forward. But we have a few things that are going to make us stop again. I don't know if part of your questionnaire or not, but we're going back to Europe in summer, so that that always puts a pause on everything when we go on the road. So, but we're very much it's in the front of our minds.
It's coming.
Making new music.
Good. As long as you continue to churn it out.
Yeah.
It's so ironic. I interviewed a very we're here in Austin. I interviewed like a very cultish following band called Vesperian Sorrow. They hadn't released a record in 12 years. And then they released their record, and Rick and I were jamming to it on the way up here, and I was like, Rick was like, man, I love this record. I said, me too. It's like their best sounding record ever. And they hadn't recorded in 12 years. But man, as long as it's coming, I told the guys when I interviewed them, I said, as long as it's out, man, that's the most important thing, You just alluded to the fact that the band re-signed with Metal Blade. You guys have had a long history with Metal Blade, almost been there your entire careers. What makes that relationship so enduring?
Well, I think it comes from, it stems from Brian Slagle's love for the band. Brian Slagle, of course, is the CEO. He started the label many years ago, 40-some years ago. And, I think it all stems from that. He has always been and still is to this day just a big fan of metal in general. But he's been a huge fan and supporter of Armored Saint since 1982. And so, he's always supported us no matter what. Even when we left and we were on Chrysalis during the 80s, he was still a supporter of the band. Yeah. So, it's just kind of it's a good match for us. We have like a long history with so many of the staff that's also there. Yeah. They have a great staff, and I have personal friends with most of them. And it's just a good working relationship,
an honest rapport, right?
Yeah, and they're
all fucking games,
and they're all
stuff.
Just fans. They're all like fans of this genre, of this music. It's not like people just. It's not just a job for them,
Right.
And to much of their chagrin, probably, it's hard work being a fan, But and working, you know, with your favorite band. Sometimes it can be difficult, but you know, it's a great relationship, and there's nowhere else we'd rather be.
Yeah, I love Metal Blade, and I think that's one of the reasons so many people love Brian Slagle too, because they know his heart's in the right place, and you know, and he's a fan.
Yeah,
he's a fan. Yeah,
he's still a fan.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
great.
integrity, bro. That's integrity.
Exactly.
I was remiss not to ask, as we were talking about writing. You know, I know that you kind of are at the heart of that process. How has that process evolved over the decades now with all the new technology in place? Are you one of those people that has embraced the new technology? And then now we hear about, you know, even AI coming into people, you know, utilizing AI in their recording process. I mean, how do you feel about that? And what kind of things like Pro Tools, is that something that you enjoy and relish in, or is that something like, oh, you know?
Well, speaking of AI, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
I draw the line. Anything AI related, it just turns my stomach. This imitation of art. So that's where I draw the line. But everything else, all the other technology, I've been embracing it for a very long time.
Good.
I think that there's you have to use it to your advantage. You know, I don't like. My personal feeling is I don't think you should rely on it to make things better or fix things that aren't right. Or those sort of things. I still believe in the performance of the human, you know, so I think that that's the most important thing. But the method in which you capture it I've embraced that technology for a long time. And I do work in this way. I have a studio at home, and it's a digital workstation. And but, you know, at the end of the day, it's like still John Bush singing, or it's Phil or Jeff playing guitar, or Gonzo hitting the drums, or whatever. It's still humans doing it. And, you know, we don't do things, we've never used our Pro Tools, for instance, in a way to make everything perfect. We grew up in the 70s, and so we allow things to move around. And, I mean, we fix big mistakes, obviously, but there's slight inflections and things that are slightly not perfect. We leave those things in because that's just where we come from. You know? But, you know, like I said, the technology, I love technology. I'm fascinated by it, and I think it increases your productivity because your workflow gets improved, and I'm all for that. I'm a very pragmatic thinker, you know, so any way to get to the finish line, I wouldn't say quicker, but just more better, more efficiently, I'm all for that.
And saving time, too, and money, you know. Because, you know, you can send files. You can send files to your bandmates.
There's some of that, too.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I've become a little bit of a recluse. And the older I get, I find that I enjoy working by myself more. So technology affords me to do that, you know. So I can work in my pajamas if I want, you know.
I love that, man. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. I think that's... I think I read something about people who don't mind being alone and working alone, that there's something special about them, because not everybody's like that. No, not everybody's like that. Let's talk about now. I have to talk about. Wasn't it recently? I think a couple of days ago, the birthday of Symbol of Salvation.
Yeah.
What a pinnacle record in the history of Armored Saint.
Yeah, I didn't
33 years now.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
May 14th.
That's cool. Yeah.
So today's 2 days ago.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That record, I use the word pinnacle, and I'm sure I feel pretty firm in saying that record is a fan favorite.
Yeah.
What do you think makes that record so special for so many people?
Well, I think maybe this translated to everyone, but it was something that sort of happened unintentionally in this regard. But for us, this record was kind of this accumulation of time that had passed after we got dropped from Chrysalis. So there was a period of about 2 or 3 years after we got dropped where we had no label and we had nothing. Went back to day jobs that kind of thing. And so Dave Pritchard was still with us, and we wrote all this amazing stuff with Dave. And then, of course, at the end of this period, Dave Pritchard passed away from leukemia. His fans will know that story. And so this was sort of our Phoenix Rising moment, if you will, making that record. But along the way there, like in that 2-year period, we've always been a band that like wanted to, we didn't want to be pigeonholed into one thing, even though in the 80s we sort of were looking over our shoulders a little bit with the thrash era that was coming up around us, and we kind of, so we were sort of like, we could hang with the thrash bands, but we could also hang with some of the hair bands too. So we were sort of lost our identity a little bit in that sense by the time Raising Fear came out. But after that, we started to just be a little more, I don't want to say the word honest, but just a little more like not trying so hard. And some of our favorite bands growing up were bands that weren't really one thing. They were like, like UFO or Thin Lizzy or Queen. Bands like this were a huge influence on us growing up. And we've always sort of desired to be a band like that. So I think that when we got to Symbol of Salvation, this was the first time, I think, that we reached this sort of crossroads. And the path that we chose was a path that would ultimately lead us to where we are today. And I like to say that we're sort of this band that's kind of on its own island. We're not just a thrash band. We're not a hair metal band. We're not a traditional metal band. We're kind of all of those things in a weird, small way, without being too wishy-washy. Like we still have a sound about us that's clearly Armored Saint. So that's what I think that, when I look at our career, I'd like to think that, we're sort of like on our own island. I didn't really realize this until we made La Raza in 2010. I finally was like, you know what? Like, this is cool. Like, we're just on our own. This is our own thing.
Yeah.
And so much pressure comes off of you when you realize that. But to answer your question, Symbol was that first stepping stone in the direction that would lead us here today. So I think that record resonated with a lot of people. I think that they saw that we were something a little different in 1991 when that record came out.
And I think fans really fell in love with the versatility of that record, because like one of my favorite songs is Tainted Past. I love that record.
Yeah.
I love your little bass thing in there.
Yeah, that's
Last Train Home.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites
too.
too.
Man, I mean,
there's a lot of great songs on it.
Yeah.
And they're all unique from each other. They're not really the same.
Right. Right.
So
you said something a little while ago. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, we all remember Dave Pritchard and his passing, and then the introduction of Jeff Duncan on guitar. And sometimes, it's kind of weird as an old school fan. I still sometimes think, oh, Jeff Duncan's the new guy. Honestly, I still think that sometimes.
We joke with him about that still.
And then as I pulled up the old video from Rain of Fire, I was like, God damn, Jeff's been with the band since '91. He's, but it's so weird, how our minds kind of put things together.
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Dave Pritchard. Oh my God, you still sometimes think about that guy?
Yeah. We sometimes dedicate songs to him because we introduce something about John will be talking at a gig, and he'll mention something. This one was, we wrote this with Dave Pritchard, and this goes out to him. So he's still in our conscious, of course.
Of course.
A lot of the music we made and a lot of the music we performed live was written by Dave. So we always try to give a hats off.
Cool, man. That's cool. It's as we were talking off camera, we're getting older but still, the important things are things that we just never forget.
Yeah.
They stay within our subconscious, as metal fans.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about this, and please, if I'm misinformed, that's the reason I'm asking. I remember last year reading and being highly anticipating this documentary about the band called Band of Brothers. Correct me if I'm, which is a historical documentary on the creation of the band and the evolution of the band, and all the people, even your cohorts and colleagues who were fans of Armored Saint too, in that at that time period and in the LA scene. That was there. Did that premiere of the documentary happen last May in LA?
We did in LA. We had a premiere in LA. There was a couple. There was one in LA. There was one in I want to say Cleveland or Columbus or someplace. Yeah. And then there was another one in London. It was submitted to film festivals and was accepted on several. It ran the circuit. I'm guessing you're asking what's going on with the movie.
Well, what I really want to know, because I haven't seen it yet. I've just seen clips of it online that I can find, and I kept looking. I was on Amazon. I was on Reddit. I was everywhere. I'm like, how can I get this thing?
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Oh, okay.
Let me rephrase this. It is done. The movie's been done.
Yeah.
In its current form, and that's what was shown at these premieres. At the current moment, status says that they're sorting out, the director and the producers are still sorting out legal clearances for some of the material that's in the movie, some of the music and so forth. All that stuff, legal stuff, has to be taken care of before it can go any further.
Sure.
But ultimately, they're looking for a home for it.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is a place like Amazon Prime or Netflix, or
cool.
a place that because let's face it, the only way people are really going to see this is if it gets streamed.
Sure.
Maybe even YouTube TV or something. But
not YouTube TV. YouTube TV is too expensive.
Yeah, yeah. I don't subscribe to that either. But anyway, so they're still sorting out the legalities of it.
Okay.
From what I understand, it's really close. So hopefully we get some news in the next couple of months.
Good. I was hoping you weren't going to tell me, yeah, Rob, it's already out. Where have you been? And then I really would have. Exactly. I would have felt like a fool.
It's on Laserdisc now.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you so much for sharing that. Now I know it's coming. There were a lot of cool people in the video that I've seen so far who spoke really highly. Hetfield was in there, and Lars was in there, and Bill Matoyer was in there. Wow, old school guy.
Yeah. A lot of people we worked with, and a lot of friends and colleagues, and
man, that's cool. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
can't wait to see it.
It's cool.
Were you happy with how it came out?
Yeah, I was afraid that it was going to be a little long, because it's long for a documentary, I think. But sitting there watching it, I didn't want to go to the premiere.
Really?
It's a bit like listening to yourself speak for the first time. When you're young on a tape recorder or something.
Yeah.
That's my voice? I sound like that? Oh my God, I sound like a weirdo. So I was really uncomfortable about sitting in a room with mostly people I knew and friends and stuff, watching myself talk about myself on a screen. I felt really uncomfortable about it. But there's a lot of humor in it, and so that part of it, I don't know.
Sure.
There's some levity.
Sure.
So it was fun.
Sure. Joey, as we end out, and as these people start sound checking,
damn guitar players.
Let's talk just really quick. You're into a 40-year plus career with Armored Saint already.
Yeah.
Did you think you'd still be doing it this far along?
Hell no. God no. I mean, when I was 19, the only thing on my agenda was like, where am I going to score the next lid of pot, and who's buying beer?
Yeah,
exactly. Because I'm still too young to buy beer. So and to think that I could even make it to the age, like in my 30s, was like, I'm not going to live that long. I never had the foresight to think about that. So pretty mind-blowing. I'm 61 now, and it's pretty mind-blowing that I'm still here talking about making music.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm super beyond honored and beyond lucky. Have great family at home and a great circle of friends, and everything's like far beyond what I ever imagined.
And I think we'd be remiss not to say, myself included, that thank the universal power that we're still healthy.
Absolutely.
We see so many friends of ours succumb to demons or just not, taking care of themselves, and they get ill. And I've had a lot of friends on my end, personal friends who, it's catching up to them.
It happens to everybody, unfortunately, and the older we get, the more frequently it starts happening too.
Yeah.
So very thankful.
Yeah, moderation, people. Moderation. Lastly, Joey, I remember watching a clip from Band of Brothers, and I think there was a couple of instances where you kind of said, man, when we got into the music industry, we were kind of like oblivious to how this business worked.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of musicians who watch our show. What would you say was the most important lesson that you learned about the music industry? If you could choose one, or maybe share a couple.
Wow, that's tough. That's tough because I wish there was a silver bullet answer for that, but there really isn't. A lot of this sort of depends on what you want, what you really want, what's really important to you, and sometimes it takes a long time to figure out what that is. We're talking about us. Took me a long time to finally realize what I thought was important about our band. Mm-hmm. But I think in general, I think that, and I hate to sound cliche, but really, just people have to be really honest and with themselves and true to themselves. I think if there's one underlying thing, you really have to enjoy what you do and what you're doing, and you have to do it for that sole reason of enjoying it. There's no payday that really is going to be worth it.
Sure.
The payday is enjoying yourself, like having a great time with great people and
the fans,
and being in a place where you can feel like you can express yourself, and you can't pay for that. There's no amount of money that is equal to that feeling. So just keep those things in mind and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Great, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that a lot of people can relate to it. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good to see you again, as always.
Oh,
and
man.
thank you guys all.
What a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we had to take the day off, and I told Rick, we're going to Austin, man. We're going to go hook up with Joey Vera. And Rick was like, okay, dude, let's go. So, it's always a pleasure.
Awesome.
These kind of conversations to me immortalize my program and immortalize Armored Saint and you, and they'll live on forever, man.
Congratulations on your program. It's been around how many years now?
In June, it'll be 28 years.
That's crazy. That's
28 years.
Dude, that's amazing. Congratulations.
I remember that band
awesome.
the band from Austin that I interviewed.
Yeah.
They were promoting, once I posted the interview, they were promoting it. And I kind of winced at one of their posts because the guy put, we just did an interview with the Rob's MetalWorks podcast. And I'm like, we were around before podcasts, bro. But, as you've adapted, I have to adapt.
Exactly.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Joey.
Thanks for having me.
I wish you the best this year, and I can't wait for the new music.
Thank you.
And remember, everybody, new record coming out next year in 2025. Look for Band of Brothers, the documentary. Oh, man, I know all you fans are going to want to check that out. You saw the man, Joey Vera of Armored Saint, right here on Rob's Metal Works.